The truth about silence. Flip the script. Let's be brutally honest and cut straight through the noise because most men are living a lie when it comes to modern dating. The moment a woman stops replying or starts pulling away, the average guy loses his mind. He feels that spike of anxiety in his chest, and his first instinct is to fix it by doing exactly the wrong thing. He starts chasing. He thinks that if he just sends one more text, or if he calls 3 times in an hour, he can convince her to like him again. He pours every ounce of his emotional energy into winning back a sliver of her attention, but he doesn't realize that he is actually digging his own grave. All that effort doesn't look like love, it looks like pure, unadulterated desperation. You have to understand the cold, hard reality. The more you chase, the less she values you. It's a basic law of human nature. You are teaching her that your time is cheap and your dignity is for sale. This is the precise moment where men are divided into two groups: the men women respect and the men women use as a backup plan. You need to wake up to the fact that silence is rarely an accident. It is a test. Whether she is doing it intentionally to see how you'll react, or it's a subconscious pullback, it is a safety check on your masculine core. She wants to know if you are a man who is centered or a boy who crumbles the moment he loses validation. If you respond to her silence with weakness, if you start double texting or asking what you did wrong, she will silently label you as unworthy without ever saying a single word. Most guys never make it past this stage because they are too busy trying to prove their love through neediness. But you don't prove strength by being available 24/7. You prove it by having a frame and a life that doesn't stop just because her typing bubbles disappeared. This is about emotional self-regulation. If you can't handle a few days of silence without falling apart, you are telling her that she is the one in control of your happiness. To change this dynamic and fix the power imbalance, you have to stop playing by her rules and start flipping the script. This is where you apply a psychological reset. Most men are predictable. When ignored, they chase. To be high value, you must become unpredictable. Instead of begging for her time or demanding an explanation for her distance, you meet her silence with a silence that is 10 times heavier. You stop explaining yourself, you stop justifying your actions, and you simply vanish into your own world. This creates a massive shift in her mind. The one thing a woman cannot resist is a man who genuinely does not need her. It's not about being a jerk or playing childish games. It's about mastering your own internal state and refusing to let anyone else dictate your value. You are reclaimed by your own purpose, not her attention span. Ignoring her back is not a sign of weakness or ghosting out of spite. It is a sophisticated demonstration of masculine strength. It shows you have the discipline to do the opposite of what your frantic emotions are telling you to do. Your brain is screaming at you to check your phone, but your logic is telling you to put it down and go to the gym or build your business. When you choose logic over emotion, you reclaim the power in the relationship instantly. You are no longer the one waiting for a reply. You are the one who is too busy loving to notice she hasn't sent one. This shift in energy is felt immediately. Suddenly, she is the one wondering why her test didn't work. She starts questioning if she's losing her grip on you, and that is exactly when the attraction begins to rebuild. You win by being the man who is willing to walk away and stay away until the respect is mutual. Segment 1. Silence is your strongest weapon. Silence is far more than just the absence of words. It is a high-level psychological tool that speaks louder than any paragraph you could ever type. Most men completely crumble the second a woman goes quiet because they interpret that silence as a threat to their ego. Their immediate knee-jerk reaction is to rush in and fill the void. They send follow up texts. They ask, "Is everything okay?" And they engage in exhausting, one sided conversations just to feel a sense of connection. This is the exact moment where respect is burned to the ground. When you scramble to fill the silence, you are essentially telling her that her attention is the oxygen you need to breathe. Silence, however, is a weapon that communicates absolute confidence without you having to lift a finger. It shows that you are comfortable in the stillness and that your world doesn't stop turning just because she stops typing. When you refuse to beg for her attention, you send a clear, undeniable message. I don't need you to validate me. You have to realize that nothing gets under a person's skin more than a man who refuses to react to their games. In many cases, she expects you to panic. She is subconsciously or even consciously watching to see if you will chase her, if you will get angry, or if you will plead for her time. She wants to see if you will fight for her attention because that gives her all the leverage. But the second you meet her silence with your own, the power dynamic flips instantly. The hunter becomes the hunted. She starts to wonder why you aren't trying, why you aren't bothered, and most importantly, if you have already moved on to something better. This shift creates a vacuum that she eventually feels compelled to fill. Mastering this requires an incredible amount of discipline because your emotions will try to trick you into reaching out. You have to understand that this isn't about ghosting someone forever out of spite. It's about a strategic withdrawal of your energy. It is about demonstrating that your self worth is firmly rooted in your own masculine core and is not tied to her reply or her validation. This lack of reaction is deeply magnetic because it suggests you have other things, other goals, other people, or a higher purpose that demand your focus more than a dead conversation does. By remaining silent, you force her to come to you. You stop being the one pushing for a connection and start being the one who allows her to realize what she's missing. In the end, the man who is comfortable with silence is the man who stays in control of the frame. Segment 2. Stop auditioning for approval. The single biggest mistake you can make when you feel her pulling away is trying to prove your worth to her. Many men fall into the trap of thinking that if they just remind her how much they care, or if they list all the reasons they are a good guy, she will suddenly see the light and appreciate them. In reality, the moment you start explaining your value, you have already lost it. Women do not respect men who are constantly auditioning for their approval like they're trying out for a role in a play. Insecurity has a very specific scent, and to a woman, neediness is absolute poison to attraction. Every just checking in text or "I thought you liked that place" message is a subtle admission that you don't believe you are valuable enough to be remembered without a constant reminder. You have to shift your mindset and realize that the men who are actually chased by women act as if recognition and respect are already guaranteed. They don't waste time explaining their value through words, they live it through their actions and their boundaries. Think of yourself like a top tier luxury brand. A high end store like Rolex or Lamborghini doesn't chase random people down the street, waving brochures and begging them to understand why their products are expensive and high quality. They don't care if you walk out the door without buying anything because they know exactly what they are worth. They are perfectly fine letting you walk away because their value isn't dependent on your purchase. That is exactly how you must carry yourself. When you stop selling yourself and stop asking for permission to be in her life, the entire dynamic changes. She stops being the judge who gets to decide your worth and starts realizing that she is the one who needs to qualify for your time and energy. If you are constantly trying to win her over, you are placing her on a pedestal and looking up at her. But when you step off the stage and stop auditioning, you force her to look at you as an equal, or better yet, as the prize she might lose. Stop being the salesman who is desperate for a yes and start being the man who is so secure in what he brings to the table that he doesn't need to say a single word to justify it. Segment 3: The power of being replaceable. A woman only feels comfortable ignoring you or playing games with your time when she is 100% certain that you aren't going anywhere. If she assumes you are sitting at home, staring at your phone, and waiting for her to throw you a bone, she holds every bit of the power. She treats you like an option because you have treated her like your only priority. But you must embrace the hard truth: no one is irreplaceable, not her and not you. The problem is that many men treat the women they like as if they are rare, one of a kind diamonds, while treating themselves like common stones you can find on any sidewalk. This massive imbalance in perceived value makes her feel like she is the ultimate prize, while you are just another desperate player hoping to be picked. True, raw attraction only flourishes when she feels that you are a man of high value who could walk away at any moment. If she feels that your life is full, that you have a mission, a career, a brotherhood, and other options, she is forced to respect you because she knows you won't tolerate being disrespected. This isn't about being rude or acting like a jerk. It's about having a lifestyle that proves you are not stuck on any one person. When you live a life of abundance, your energy changes. You stop radiating that please like me vibration and start radiating a keep up with me energy. Nothing makes a person chase harder than the genuine fear of losing someone who is actually going places. If she realizes that her silence doesn't stop your progress, it triggers a survival instinct in her. She begins to realize that while she was busy ignoring you, you were busy becoming a better version of yourself and potentially meeting people who actually appreciate what you offer. You must protect your self worth at all costs. The very second you treat a woman as if she is your only path to happiness or your only option for intimacy, you have effectively handed her the leash to your life. Take back your power by being the man who loves deeply but is always prepared to walk away if the respect isn't being reciprocated. Segment 4: Attention is your currency. You need to understand that your attention is the most valuable asset you possess. It is worth more than any gift you could buy or any fancy dinner you could pay for. In the economy of dating, your attention is your primary currency, and most men are going bankrupt because they throw it away for free. They are printing money by constantly liking every photo, sending good morning texts, and showering a woman with compliments before she has even shown a shred of interest. When you give your attention away so cheaply to someone who hasn't earned it, you are telling her that your time has zero value. You are signaling that you have no discipline, no standards, and nothing better to do than wait for her to acknowledge you. Why on earth would she prioritize you or chase you when she knows your attention is always available for free, regardless of how poorly she treats you? You have made yourself a participation trophy that she doesn't even have to compete for. The shift begins the moment you stop rewarding bad behavior with your focus. If she ignores your message or leaves you on read, do not double down by sending more validation or trying to check in to see if she's okay. When you do that, you are literally paying her for ignoring you. Instead, you must treat your attention like a scarce, high demand resource. Think about gold or diamonds. They are valuable specifically because they are not everywhere. When you become stingy with your time and selective with your focus, you instantly become more valuable in her eyes. You have to create a situation where your attention is a prize to be won, not a burden she has to deal with. The moment you start investing your energy wisely and pulling back from people who don't reciprocate, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, she has to work to get that currency back. Stop being reckless with your energy. Until you learn to control exactly where your attention goes and who is worthy of it, you will always be controlled by the whims of others. Segment 5: Withdraw kindness, never respect. When most men get ignored, they tend to swing wildly between two equally weak extremes. Either they become extra nice and start acting like a servant in hopes of winning her back, or they flip the switch and become bitter, angry, and aggressive. Both of these reactions are a total disaster because they both scream that you are insecure and emotionally unstable. The real power move, the one that actually commands respect, is to withdraw your kindness while maintaining your absolute respect. You must understand the distinction. Respect is a non negotiable standard you live by as a man because of who you are. Kindness, however, is a gift, an investment that you offer based on how she acts. If she stops putting in effort, the gifts stop immediately. If you keep being sweet, overly helpful, and accommodating to someone who is disrespecting your time and ignoring your presence, you are effectively training her to treat you like a doormat. You are teaching her that she can behave poorly and you will still be there to hold the door open and tell her how great she is. On the flip side, lashing out or sending angry paragraphs only proves that she has complete control over your emotions. To stay in power, you must remain calm and stay respectful, but remove every ounce of extra effort she hasn't earned. You don't go out of your way for her, you don't offer favors, and you don't bend over backwards to please her. This communicates a very powerful, silent message. I am a high value man who respects everyone, but I only reward those who bring value to my life. You are showing her that you aren't here to play games or be used as an emotional ego boost. You can respect her as a human being while simultaneously refusing to tolerate any behavior that devalues your masculine frame. Segment 6. Build a life that is louder than her games. The harsh truth is that people only feel comfortable ignoring you when they believe you have nothing better to do than sit around and wait for them. If she senses that your entire world revolves around her reply, you have already lost the lead in the relationship. Too many men put their entire lives on a pause button the moment a woman enters the picture. They stop going to the gym as often, they let their business goals slide, and they abandon their hobbies just to be available for a text that might never come. That isn't love or devotion. It is obsession, and it is the fastest way to kill any spark of attraction. A woman cannot respect a man who doesn't respect his own time and mission enough to stay focused. What women truly respect and feel drawn to is a man whose life is already loud, full, and moving at a high velocity. You need to be a man who is so deeply committed to chasing his purpose that a silent phone barely registers as a minor distraction, let alone a crisis. You should be living so fully that you don't even notice hours have passed without a reply because you were too busy crushing a workout, building your career, or connecting with a brotherhood of men who add real value to your world. When she looks at your life and sees that the train is moving forward with or without her, a powerful sense of curiosity kicks in. She'll realize she is not the center of your universe, and that realization triggers a fear of missing out. She will come running back, not because you begged her to, but because she wants to see if she can still keep up with the man you are becoming. Don't just act busy, actually be busy. Make your life so interesting and your goals so big that her games feel small in comparison. Segment 7. Mirror the energy. The golden rule of high value interaction is simple. Never chase silence with words. You must learn to mirror the energy you are receiving with absolute precision. When she pulls back, you don't lean in. You pull back just as far, if not further. When she stops responding, your outgoing messages must stop immediately. Most men make the fatal mistake of trying to bridge the gap with more communication, asking questions like, "Are you mad at me?" or "Did I do something wrong?" All this does is confirm your deepest insecurity and prove that you are terrified of losing her. It signals to her that she is the one holding the remote control to your emotional state. A man who truly values himself never begs to be acknowledged or noticed. He understands that a relationship is a two-way street, And if the other person stops walking toward him, he simply stops walking toward them. He matches the energy he is given because he refuses to overinvest in someone who is under contributing. Mirroring her silence is the only way to force her to reveal her true intentions. When you stop chasing, you create a void, and in that void, the truth comes out. If she is genuinely interested in you, she will eventually notice your pullback, feel the sudden lack of your presence, and step up to reclaim your attention. If she doesn't reach out, then she was never worth your time or energy in the first place, and she has saved you months of wasted effort. Either way, you win because you protected your dignity and kept your pride intact. You have to realize that you are not a performer here for her amusement, and you are not a backup dancer in the movie of her life. You are the lead in your own story. If she wants the privilege of your presence and your conversation, she has to demonstrate that she values it. By mirroring her energy, you set a standard for how you expect to be treated, and you let her know that your attention is not a permanent fixture she can take for granted. Segment 8. Control your emotions, control the game. You have to internalize this. The moment you lose your cool, you lose the game. Silence is the ultimate test of your ability to stay calm and collected under pressure. Most men fail this test miserably because they allow themselves to spiral into overthinking or lash out in a moment of anger. They let the anxiety of a delayed text message dictate their entire mood for the day. Every time you have an emotional outburst, every time you send an angry paragraph, and every time you show that her silence has bothered you, you are handing her the keys to your mental state. If she can ruin your entire afternoon simply by not replying to a message, she effectively owns you. She has become the master of your emotions. And once a woman realizes she can control your state of mind with something as small as silence, she loses all respect for your masculine frame. True strength is found in emotional discipline. It tells her, and more importantly, it tells you that you are a man who values himself regardless of what anyone else does. You must remain centered, grounded, and unshakable, like a mountain that doesn't move just because the wind blows. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean becoming a cold, unfeeling robot. It means being fully aware of your feelings, but refusing to let them dictate your actions. When you feel that surge of anxiety, you don't chase. When you feel afraid of losing her, you don't beg. You acknowledge the feeling, take a breath, stay calm, and keep moving forward with your day. The man who can keep his head while everyone else is losing theirs is the man who stays in control of the frame. And the man who controls the frame is the only one who can ever truly control the relationship. Segment 9. The ultimate rule. Walk away first. If there is one rule that separates the men women respect from the men they eventually forget, it is this: always be the man who can walk away first. The man who is willing to leave the table when respect is no longer being served is the man who never gets walked over. You must refuse to cling to a situation when you see the clear signs of disinterest or consistent disrespect. Most men do the exact opposite. They hang on for dear life, hoping for a change of heart, until they've lost every ounce of their dignity.